Hey, chickadees. Welcome into today's episode of Mojo Mysticism. Today, again, we're pulling from the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Lynn. And, excuse me, and we have 3 cards that have already popped out today. And they have an interesting story to tell. So, the first one that came out is protection. Okay, this tree is the image of protection from the storm that is above it, as you can see. And the second card that came out is power. Power. And look at how dark it is, but with this beautiful lightning bolt coming in. Very similar to the first card. Just remember that. And then the third card is abundance. The field of wildflowers blooming. Abundance. There is a story that our guides want to make sure that we understand in these 3 cards today. And that story is that we are protected, right? We have all the protection that we need. We just need to call it in when we need it and to believe that it's there. Okay? If we don't believe that it's there, but we're grasping at it and calling it in, then it's much more difficult to really get that experience where you know without a doubt that you're protected. I do know without a single doubt in my mind that I am completely protected, that there is nothing that will happen in my life that isn't written into my life plan. So even when things get difficult and difficult things happen, I know that they are there for a reason because I know that I'm protected. So that's the protection card. Again, the tree is there as the protection, but notice the lightning strikes above it. And that is where we get to card number 2, power. So this card about power has multiple layers of meaning for us today. Yes, this is the power that can be exerted on us by others, but it is more importantly our own power. That's what our guides want us to really understand today, because when we are beginning to really understand the amount of power that we have, it can feel dark. It can be scary. I have been, I'm going to say terrified in the past, and I don't think that's too strong a word, of the power as it gets revealed to me and uncovered in who I am. And I realize how powerful, not just myself, but every single one of you are. Every single human being on this planet is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And it can be terrifying. It was for me in the past, and I am stepping into that power now. But that is where the protection and the power card kind of work together. Because when we don't yet understand our power and we are afraid of our power, we can call for protection from our own power. And that looks like staying small. It looks like diminishing ourselves so that others can come to the front. It looks like dimming our light, those kinds of activities. It can also look like just giving up, right? If you hit a wall and you realize the full nature of who you are and the power that you have as an individual, you can just full stop, put the brakes on, and absolutely not move another inch. That is always an option for us. Not one I recommend. So, protection and power, and how those two are used by the divine, but also how we use protection to hide from our own power. And then comes the abundance card, because what our guides want us to know is that they got the protection thing. We don't have to protect ourselves. They got it. We're going to get accustomed to it if we really apply ourselves and we really open ourselves up to spirit. We're going to understand how protected we are, and also that there's nothing to protect because we are incredibly powerful. We're going to begin to understand that, and that is when abundance comes. And I'm not talking about necessarily manifestation of things, although that's nice and it does happen. I'm talking about abundance in every single form. And it takes on a new role in your life, right? Because sure, there's money, sure, there's finances, sure, there's, status in the community or whatever it is that you want to manifest. But I'm talking about abundance. This is a life that is overflowing with the things that you want, right? The things that you value. And I'm not talking about value from an outward appearance. I'm talking about value as an internal state. Okay? That's how deep I'm talking about abundance here. So when we figure out that, and we get the power and the protection thing in the right order, right? And we understand the truth about who we really are as incredibly powerful spiritual beings wrapped in human suits, right? And that we are protected by very powerful guides in our life, we understand and can experience abundance at a level we haven't before, because we're not spending all of our time trying to run from our own power, or I think I said time. We're not spending all of our time running from our own power, right? We're not hiding from it anymore. And we are not having to protect ourselves because we know we are protected. So, does that mean bad things won't happen? No, it doesn't mean bad things won't happen, because as I said early in this video, what it means is that you understand that when something challenging happens to you and you want to label it bad, because bad's just a label, but when something challenging happens, you realize that this is part of your life plan, and that this challenge, this thing that you want to label bad, is actually going to be working for you in the very near future. You don't see it then, right? Which is why we're tempted to throw a label on it. But protection exists, and it exists to make sure that we are moving through our life aligned with the plan that we set forth before we even came in. So, protection, power, get them in the right order. The cart and the horse have to be in the right order. They have to be in their proper definitions that our guides are trying to help us understand today. And then abundance naturally arises. So, all right, chickadees, thank you so much for being part of our community. Put comments in. I will address all of them. So please let me know how this is landing with you. And I hope you have a fabulous day. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah.